All right. So our recording has started. Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to talk all things design, and we've got 3 or 4 lovely presenters today. So without further ado, I am going to let Michelle in Lawrenceburg take over. Michelle, if you just want to introduce yourself, and you can take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is really strange because I can't see anyone. I just see my screen. So, hello, everyone. I'm Michelle, Director of Lawrenceburg Main Street, and I'm excited to tell you about some of the design projects that we've done here in downtown. I know you guys do a lot of great work, so thanks for looking at some of ours. The first project that we did is called the Inside Out Project. And the inspiration for this was to introduce street art to downtown. When I first arrived in Lawrenceburg, we really had a couple of murals, but not a lot going on and not a lot of interest in art in downtown. So it all started with, he's my favorite street artist, or one of my favorites. His name is JR, and he goes around the country and takes pictures of people. He blows them up larger than life. They're 6 by 4 feet, and pastes them to shine a light on causes around the globe. So you can see some of these really large posters, and that's his photomobile. And this is an installation that he did across the border wall in Mexico. It was like a community table just to shine a light on border issues. What I found out is that you can do your own community action through the Inside Out project. So we went ahead and applied, and our action was called Celebrating the Evolution of Rural America. And we were approved. If you go to the insideoutproject.net, you can go on the map and find that our installation is still there. To get started, we set up 4 different photo sessions. We asked some very kind local photographers to donate their time and invited anyone who lived, worked, and played in Lawrenceburg to come out and have their photo taken. We took 164 pictures like this of community members, and then we proceeded to paste them up like posters on the walls surrounding our new civic park. And this is our communications coordinator, Brittany Bly, and her mom pasting one of the first photos. And these are my neighbors, so nobody escapes Main Street projects. And this is my daughter. I probably took this picture to show her that her poster was up. So we had volunteers do the first 2 rows, but after that, we needed to hire some lifts to get the taller installations going. Our city workers helped us. It was a challenging installation because it rained a lot during that week, but we did get them up. People loved seeing the pictures of community members. I would see cars just stop in the street, just amazed at all of the great photos and seeing their friends and family up on the walls. We did light them up at night, and we did 3 walls, but it was hard to photograph everything. But it was a great project. It stayed up only about 6 weeks because it rained a lot. So you can see here there was a lot of peeling. The installation is meant to be temporary, and this is a picture of our summer workers who are busily scrubbing these off the walls, and we wound up pressure washing them. But they came off really easily, did no damage to the walls, and it was a great project. The next project we did was an alleyway activation. We are trying to just show the value of these underused public spaces. So we partnered with an artist named Jennifer Wolf from Paper Acorn and got a grant to commission this. That's actually a plastic installation that when it's up, it's reminiscent of the river. You see some great shadows during the day. And we also created an interactive part of the exhibition where when people were spending time inside, they could write down some of their experiences of optimism and also maybe some memories that they had of living in a close-knit small town. There were some markers in the buckets here and tables where people could sit, and then as they were spending time, they could read the thoughts of other community members. This installation was supposed to stay up for a month. It wound up staying up for 2 and became a really great community gathering space, day and night. we wound up with more furniture and plants in there. That's kind of in the middle of the installation. And community members would take amazing pictures and share them on social media. And we also created, well, I don't think at this time we had the hashtag Elberg Murals, but people really did. When people would happen upon the installation, they would just gasp, and you'd hear them say, like, downtown cool. So it was great to see people get excited about it. During the COVID 2 years, we did 2 different COVID installations. This one we borrowed from a street artist called My Dog Size, and he has a free Art Friday program that we were trying to emulate, but we encouraged all of the people, business owners and residents in downtown to create these simple hub posters and then to post them in windows and doors. We also asked some young people in our community to go around and do chalk drawings all around downtown. So during the together but separate time, we could support each other. And we also wound up getting some really great local young artists doing some fun chalk installations. The second project that we did during COVID was again to create enthusiasm for a more permanent alleyway activation. This is a new restaurant in a newly restored building, and there's a great alley that goes all the way through to our library, and it creates a great sort of circle around downtown. And we wanted to get enthusiasm and future funding to create a permanent exhibition here. What we did is hire a local arts teacher to draw this geometric patterns kind of reminiscent of a river, and bring out some local high school students to fill it in with washable paint. Again, this was meant to be temporary. And then we also invited members of the community to come on out and fill it in. And we spent the afternoon drawing and coloring and making a really fun, beautiful sidewalk mural. Very sadly, it did not last as long as we hoped because it rained like that afternoon, and somehow the barricades were not in place and a car drove over it. So yes, it was super cool, but it did not last very long. In doing this, I ran across a picture of my dog Maisie that I had to share. This is Maisie working at our Pink Ladies on the Loose wine walk. So our Inside Out project was super popular, and they requested that we do it again. However, those community actions aren't something that you really can repeat, and we wanted to do something fresh. So we found another way to use the photos and created this eye image using all the photos and some of the historic images of downtown. And we installed this on one of the walls around our civic park. We used a sticker material, that semi-permanent. We were hoping that it would stay for 4 months. It's still up, so it's lasted 1.5 years. This is a local printer. She's amazing. Has helped us do some wild projects. So this is something you can do locally and inexpensive, and will not damage the wall, and has lasted a really long time. So you can see the eye is watching over kind of an activated gravel lot that's adjacent to our civic park. It serves as overflow concert seating, some picnic areas, cornhole, and in the Christmas time, it's home to our warming domes and just some outdoor seating. And just to show that it's not all fun and games, we have to do some repairs on it, but it has been repairable. Yeah, we've been very happy with how the material has performed. So all of this great street art got us approval for the full-scale wall installation. We hired this artist, Christian Dallas, to come in and create a very large-scale mural celebrating whiskey history. It's got our clock tower and the river, some of our architecture. We had a committee get together and work on this. And in order to give it a modern flair, we tried to use some bright colors and some things to kind of bring it forward. But it really is a beautiful addition to downtown. And this lot here used to be called the burned out lot, but now we call it the mural lot, and it's home to our farmers market, and we've had concerts in this space, so it's helped us to activate the space. And just for fun, these two installations were going on at the same time. So that was really satisfying for someone who loves street art. And last but not least, we created temporary interactive murals, again, to encourage people who come to downtown to walk around, find them all, post to Elberg Murals. This is Brittany and Christy and I installing the bubbles. We also did a fun dog, and these are wings that celebrate a local high school student who died of brain cancer, but she's sort of a local hero, so we wanted to celebrate her. And last but not least, we have some whiskey barrels, but we do love seeing how people interact with them. But sometimes you just never know what people are going to do with your murals. So we've had a lot of fun with it. Again, I'm Michelle with Lawrenceburg Main Street. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's installations.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. We will take questions for our presenters at the end. So feel free to, if you have some questions that pop up, put them in the chat, and we'll circle back to our presenters after we get through everybody. So next we have Sue from Crawfordsville. Sue's going to talk about a wayfinding project that is still in the works. So Sue, when you're ready, if you want to introduce yourself and take it away.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
And can you see me as well?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for having me meet Crawfordsville, Indiana on this really fun lunch and learn today. I was asked to share about our wayfinding project. Really, the wayfinding project got started, I would say, back in 2015. Crawfordsville, the city of Crawfordsville became a stellar designee that year. And so it was everybody all in, all the development partners, including Main Street, working to see those projects realized. And with that, I'm sure all my colleagues here can relate. You open up a project and suddenly calling to you to the left and right are, hey, how about me too? If you're going to do this, you might as well do that, or absolutely, you need to do that. And so wayfinding became a conversation back in 2015. I would say an intentional conversation. We were having public input sessions, which are a requirement for those projects, and we were hearing wayfinding mentioned. The interesting thing about Crawfordsville is it interesting and fortunate. It didn't have an established wayfinding system. There were the occasional signs pointing to destinations, of course, but it wasn't integrated and there wasn't a brand. And some of those signs were a bit dated or even obsolete. I remember sitting in on a My Community, My Vision session that local high school students put together, and they mentioned wayfinding. So we were seeing that word show up from young people and everyone of all ages. Let's see now. So in tangent with that, the Montgomery County folks did a study, basically a countywide development study, and they did a lot of input sessions. And one of the things that was showing up, again, was wayfinding. And they distilled the language down to one of their strategies, one of their action items was to expand local quality of place assets to serve existing and future county residents, enhance key gateways to create the desired first impression, etc. The Community Foundation, Montgomery County Community Foundation, did 2019 listening sessions, and all of these sessions were focus groups, and there was one in particular on the destination professionals, the museum directors, etc. And they all said, we need wayfinding. that the absence of that is indicating a real urgent need. So my friend and I, from the Visitors Bureau, Heather Shirk, we started intentional conversations about wayfinding. What we saw was, with all of the terrific projects that were being done through Stellar, and you'll see one of them down in the lower left there, a downtown trail. And if you might be able to make out that etched in those bricks, it says Historic Downtown Crawfordsville. So there's a brand there that we were wanting to spotlight. Pike Place up on the top, Pike Place Park, which is a great area for events and concerts and so forth, where our farmers market is. We have no signs pointing to that. Next to it on the left is Marie Canine Plaza. We have no signs pointing to those things. We have no signs pointing to the Sugar Creek Trail until you're on the trail. So that was another aspect. And the whole intention of the downtown trail was to connect the city, the downtown, the historic downtown, with the campus, which is just a few blocks southwest of downtown. And they were doing some great placemaking projects as well. We have a beautiful arboretum. We have 3 beautiful arboretums within walking distance, a few blocks of downtown. We have amazing historic spaces and businesses and museums, but our signs were not pointing to all of these terrific things. So Heather and I said, let's get busy. And so we formed a project team with our plan department at the city of Crawfordsville. There's Visit Montgomery County, Crawfordsville Main Street, and our parks director too. And we started those discussions and began to vet information architecture professionals. It's a fun term and you learn all kinds of fun new terms when you are doing wayfinding and any of these projects, right? So we studied on what makes for a successful wayfinding project. We needed to be able to demonstrate to any granting organizations that there is a measured return on investment when before and after wayfinding, and you can see those up there, examples from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, showing the percentage of increase in stays in a community before and after wayfinding. So successful wayfinding creates the repeat visitation. So people are coming into your town or coming through your town to get someplace else. And the wayfinding says, hey, there's stuff here that you didn't know about. How about stopping, or would come back? On the way back, maybe you'll stop and visit this space, or visit one of our parks, one of our trails, etc. Crawfordsville is blessed. I would say we're on 231, and there's 19,000 cars that go through our downtown each day, Monday through Friday. And so that's a lot of traffic, and wayfinding is going to capture that traffic and encourage people to come back. Instead of like, well, I'm going somewhere, we tell them you are someplace where there's some wonderful stuff, so come back. It's designed for the first time visitor. And another cool phrase besides information architecture professionals is progressive disclosure. So a wayfinding schedule that's well designed actually encourages the driver, the pedestrian, the cyclist, the bicyclist in discovery. So I see, if I turn here, I see something cool, and oh, there's another sign. So it's almost like, the mouse in the maze. You get rewards, you're rewarded, and then boom, you're here. So progressive disclosure, that's a good phrase to remember when you're making those presentations. So we vetted 2 different wayfinding design companies that had experience in the Hoosier State, and we elected to go with Corbin Design out of Traverse, Michigan. And this is just an example, and just some of these documents that I'm showing you, just note that they are copyrighted by Corbin. So there is a process to wayfinding. Everyone gets excited when you have your contractor signed up and you're meeting with them and you're starting that process of discovering where you're going to go. But be ready, and I'll get to that here in a minute. Be ready. It is a long project with a lot of moving parts, and it's a deep dive into your community and the familiarity. You thought you were familiar with your community and the streets and the spaces. Do wayfinding and you'll find out you become very intimate with all of that. But here's the process for a wayfinding project. It starts with analysis, where you have those kickoff meetings with your stakeholders, your project team. You then get into system design, which is the really fun part. Show us, we're essentially designing a new brand for our community here. It's not just putting information on signs. We want them to be beautiful and attractive and reflect what we want to say about our community. And then documentation, I'll get to that in a second, where everything starts to be published in reports, drafts that everybody's going to gather around and start making changes. And there's several of those drafts, and then implementation. So I want to say with that when the Indiana Main Street folks reached out and said, would you be interested in coming to talk about wayfinding? My answer was, well, we don't have any signs in the ground yet. We thought we were going to have that happen here summer of 2022, but we had some hiccups. So they said, well, come and talk about that. And so I'm going to talk about that just a tiny bit. But just to reinforce that the implementation, seeing, the fabrication, and then the contractor comes and those signs start to get installed. That's a very exciting time, but I'm sure it's going to come with its own set of challenges, and maybe I'll let the Abigails know here in a couple of months about those challenges. Anyway, so going back to we had our great kickoff meetings where we were talking with the Corbin folks, and we were talking with stakeholders providing input. And then they provided a couple of options on our conceptual design. And you can see there in the upper right, these signs. These are examples of the signs that reflect the design that we went with. And you'll see over there on the right a couple of maps identifying the preliminary locations for signs, both in and around the historic downtown, and then down there around the city of Crawfordsville. We opted to concentrate within the city limits for this project. But the nice thing is that these signs were developed with the idea in mind that if one of our local county small towns wanted to have a gateway sign, they could use this brand, and they would know exactly what it would cost, and they wouldn't have to start from square one. They would have something that would reflect an entire county brand if they wanted to go that route. Now, these signs, if you note, and maybe think back about the picture of the downtown trail that was made possible by Stellar, historic downtown Crawfordsville etched in there, and the color of the brick, etc. Here you see at the bottom right a picture of the Masonic Cornerstone Event Center, which was formerly Masonic Temple, and now it's an event center and being rehabilitated. So the signs, as you could tell, were inspired, actually. And this is a page out of Corbin's presentation. The actual streetscape, building streetscape and historic cornices and roof lines of downtown Crawfordsville. Of course, you've got the cornices up there and noting the colors as well. And that was just an immediate yes over the other option that they provided, because it really looked like us. And just a little note here, the buildings that you saw in the previous slide these are buildings before and after. That entire block of South Washington Street in downtown Crawfordsville along 231 saw an exceptional evolution as the property owners were working on rehabilitating their facades. You see the before picture, and there's the after. Here's another one. Look at the windows in the picture on the left, and just the decline in that building, and there it is now, looking all healthy. Here's another. Before and after a terrific restaurant space in downtown Crawfordsville. And again, you see the windows restored to the proper sizes. So, oops, let me go back. We'll just leave that there. Okay, I talked a minute ago about the deep dive, and the picture on the left is an excerpt from a sign message schedule, which is an SMS, and it's describing a kiosk, pedestrian kiosk, that'll go right there next to the Canine Plaza. We get people to the Canine Plaza, we get them to get out, enjoy the fountain and the restaurants, and then on the kiosk, pedestrian kiosk, we tell them some other great places to go. Sounds easy, right? Well, it's a lot of work. What exactly can and will we put? What messages will we put on these kiosks? What messages are on all of our signs? And that's one of the greater challenges, is you want to be equitable as much as you can and not feature one place over another. But if a site is off the beaten path, then you really do have to have more signs, because you're telling people turn left, now turn right, now do a loop-de-loo, and you've arrived at the Lew Wallace Study and Museum, whereas another space is right there on 231, and it's very easy to direct them to. So all to say, let me just get this out here. Our first, now I can't see myself, but can you guys see this? I hope so.
You want to lift it up just a little, like in front of your face.
These are sign message schedules. I only grabbed 2 of them. We went through about 8 of these. And so I had to finally go use this one, and actually I haven't printed off the one that we're actually using right now. And it's a lot of pages. It's 74 signs. That may not sound like a whole lot of signs, but it is when you're trying to describe exactly what's on the east face, what's on the west face. Is the arrow pointed in the right direction? or are we directing people someplace that, are we sending them the wrong direction? And then in the lower, back to the screen there, in the lower right is, I got better at doing spreadsheets through this whole thing. You see the sign on the sign number on the far left, and then the location and the type of sign. Is it a GX-2? Is it a KX1, etc.? And some corrections or notes that need to be made. We have a lot of these as well, going back and forth, back and forth. So we were moving along pretty well with our sign message schedule and the messages and locations of things, and then COVID hit. March 2020. Fortunately, we had a lot of that groundwork done, and we were able to meet remotely to progress. However, the unexpected things of COVID in terms of people's ability to work. We have several of our team members were now suddenly raising kids at home. I know you guys understand, as were our contractors as well. And so things slowed down, and we were finally able back in the saddle in summer of 2021 and begin to make some progress. In January of this year, the bid docs were published. We had our contractor selected in March of this year. The fabricator and the installer, and so we've been moving forward. But hiccups. It was either one week it would be our sign designer. Another week it would be the principal lead person at who's doing the fabrication. Then it was a local team. The COVID resurgence was knocking us around quite a bit. So we hope to have our signs started in the ground by the end of this year. So I have some wayfinding tips for everybody. First one, be prepared for a 3-year project. Actually, we're moving in on 4 years. So I don't know if, the size of your binder is, reflects the number of years, but get a minimum 3-inch binder for your project. Research those past planning projects, the placemaking vision sessions, economic development forecasts, bicycle pedestrian plans, gateways. Research those to find out what people were saying 10, even 20 years ago about wayfinding, and then make sure you are plugged into those new discussions with your city partners. Of course, talk to the destination folks, certainly museums and event spaces and hotels and B&Bs, but the campgrounds, parks, educators, the teachers, the gas station folks behind the counter, a variety of public officials, folks on the street, talk to your family. You'd be surprised where you get the best ideas from. And of course, it's a great opportunity in those conversations to build relationship with the downtown businesses, restaurants and retail especially. They are the ones, as somebody comes in and say, I want to get, I hear that there's a racetrack nearby. How do I get there? And so forth. Well, the signs will get them there. So find out what people are asking about by talking to those folks. Are you updating your parking signs? Boy, Crawfordsville's really need to be updated. So make sure you talk to your parking enforcement officers, if you have those, or police officers, and be prepared to trigger updates to your city's parking ordinances. We found that, well, first of all, a mayor from about 20 years ago pulled all of the signs out of all of the municipal parking spaces. And so people didn't know exactly as they came to visit, how long can I stay here? And what's it cost and all that if I don't put another nickel in the meter, and so forth. So that triggered a whole new binder right there of making sure that everybody was on the same page, because once you start making those signs, you want to make sure the information on them is accurate and up to date. Google Street View is your best friend, especially during COVID or when it's dead of winter. But also be sure to get your own photos and of spaces that you think that you're familiar with. Oh, I've driven it 1,000 times plus. Well, guess what? Street View or your own photos, when you're looking at it through the eyes of wayfinding and from the perspective of the first-time visitor, and not as somebody who's familiar with everything, you see things differently. Drive that sign message schedule yourself, so that message schedule tells you where all the signs are. Drive it and see if it's intuitive, if it makes sense, and if there's any missing signs. We found that we needed to add more signs later on, more project tips. Listen to and partner with those information architecture professionals, the wayfinding designers, yet also be the voice of your community for design choices and location opportunities. It's a partnership. You're a team. You're working together. Meet regularly with that local team. I mentioned the City of Crawfordsville Planning. Visit Montgomery County Parks. While everything is being drafted, you may need to meet once a week at certain points along this journey, or every other. Insist on updated documents from that wayfinding designer, the sign message schedule, the maps, the excuse me, the bid docs, and those from the fabricator, the shop, and the CAD drawings, because we found, excuse me, we found that in the translation, sometimes old information was showing up on page 19. So I'm sure that that's not a bad reflection on the folks we were working with. It's just, it's probably pretty common. So get updated documents every time there's a new batch of updates. Get NDOT in on the project before you bid contractors. I'll go ahead and say that that was something that Crawfordsville should have done. It wasn't well communicated to us. Nobody, not looking to cast any blame, but it is one of the reasons why we're delayed. So NDOT wants to partner with you, and they can be on your side. They really can. We found that one of the talking points in the conversation with them is to help them to understand that this was a city branding project as much as it was wayfinding, which sort of changed the perspective, changed their understanding of what the objective was. And lastly, make sure you plan a ribbon cutting. We are so looking forward to our ribbon cutting. Gather your local partners, the funders, Indiana Main Street, to celebrate a project kickoff or completion if you want to start at the beginning or end, whatever works. The local team has decided that we are having a private celebration at an undisclosed location after the ribbon cutting. So that's about it.
Great. Thank you, Sue. I'm sure there will be some questions that we'll circle back to. Our final presenters from Batesville are Ethel and Tina, and they're going to talk about a really cool international project. So Ethel and Tina, take it away. Introduce yourselves, and we're excited to hear.
So my name is Tina Longstreth, and I'm the executive director for Batesville Main Street. And Ethel Albanel is, she was the president of the Batesville Area Arts Council at the time that this project came to be. And just a little bit of background on our community. We are a community that during the 60s, when there was a big federal push for urban renewal, our community was a very progressive community and kind of bought into that whole thing. And so a lot of our downtown historic buildings were lost during that urban renewal project in the 60s. So what that kind of left us with, we do have some historic properties left, but we do have a very large parking lot in the center of our downtown with kind of an L-shaped strip mall, and it's kind of something that we are working toward kind of remedying, but it takes time when you have to do infill and figure out how to replace what was once there. So we have engaged in a couple different kind of pop-up projects to help people envision different ways to utilize our downtown. Our team at Main Street in the last couple of years did a pop-up park that became a full-scale project that we built, a community gathering space. We actually did 3 little parklets, 3 community gathering spaces, but we used a pop-up project to do that. This project in particular, I don't know, Ethel, if you want to go ahead and put it up on the screen, share the first slide. So I'll keep going while she's sharing.
Sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay.
So I don't know if I am sharing my.
Not yet.
Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Okay. You can. Sorry, keep talking and I'll put my screen up.
I have it up on mine too if you run into problems. But anyway, I'll keep talking. So Ethel was the president of the Batesville Area Arts Council. And that art council has been around for 30 years in Batesville. They have an amazing arts and education program. We have been collaborating with them in our downtown district for the last several years for downtown public art. We've done several murals in collaboration with the Art Council. And when Ethel came on board, she was kind of a newcomer to our community. She was a trailing spouse. Her husband is an executive for one of our local companies. And she was looking to kind of plug into the community and came to the Art Council to see if there were any volunteer opportunities available. And we were like, you know, sure, we'd love for you to join us. And so she kind of launched her idea for this project about a year before COVID, Ethel, I think it was.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah. And when she presented it, we had no idea what was coming around the corner for us and how actually it would be such a pivotal kind of project for our community. But I'll let her kind of discuss what her inspiration was for Umbrella Sky and how she got started on that path.
Okay, thank you, Tina. So my name is Ethel Albanil. I'm from Mexico. And as Tina mentioned, my husband was transferred to Batesville. So we have been living here for almost 9 years now. And when I was working on what it was going to be my project as president with BAC, I remember that in my hometown there was some umbrellas hanging out in downtown, and I was never there, but I saw a lot of my friends taking pictures, and I heard it has been a very good attraction for downtown. So that's how I get the idea to propose back to do something similar in Batesville. This what you see is Chihuahua, my hometown, and Merida, which is a city in the south of Mexico. So we started doing some research and find out that the company that created this project was in Portugal, and they had done it in several places in Europe, in in only in two places in the U.S., in Miami and Pittsburgh. So we contacted them and found out that, sorry.
Interrupt you. Your slides aren't advancing, so you might need to start slideshow.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, I just feel like you have beautiful photos, and I don't want people to miss them.
I go back, Ethel, though, and show them the first so they can see the inspiration.
Can you see it now?
I'd go back to the second one so they can see how you got your inspiration.
Yeah, that's the one now. Can you see it?
We see Coral Gables now.
Oh, I don't have. That's what I have on. How about now?
Same.
Can you see me moving it? I am moving.
You're on 4 right now.
Oh, that is weird because what I see on my screen is Paris and Portugal.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can. Sorry.
Oh no, technology. I can also, if that's not working, I can try and share it as well.
Yeah, that will be awesome. I don't know what's wrong with this.
Can you get it up, Abby?
Yep, I can pull it up. 1 second.
I just stopped sharing.
Okay, are you guys seeing?
We're seeing slide 1.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was your inspiration, correct?
Slide 2.
Slide 2.
Okay, what slide do you want me to go to?
Slide 2.
Okay. All right, are you seeing slide 2?
No.
Oh, technology, we love it, guys. Well,
Maybe the pictures are very large. Or...
Is it because you're in protected view?
No.
No.
Maybe if you click enable editing.
oh.
I think maybe you need to enable editing.
Okay, I do not know what's going on today. Sorry, guys. Okay, you guys keep talking.
Okay, so we contacted the company in Portugal and found out that they have been done this in many places in Europe and is being very successful. They actually got some international rewards because of their design. And we've decided to hire them to do our installation. And then after that, we needed to get the board approval and check the possible locations in Batesville. we love this place that was between two old buildings, but the wind was very hard there, so it was like a wind tunnel. We didn't do that, and then we tried on a parking lot and realized that there was nothing nice around. So we finally found another spot that we all agree will be um, the best place for the umbrella sky. And we also found a local contractor that was going to be in charge of um, building the structure so we can have the umbrella sky. But not everything was that easy as we thought at the beginning. And we faced some issues like, sorry, before going to that, we were contacted by the Washington Post. This lady that was going to do um, um, sorry,
Article.
an article for the Washington Post. She had many friends from Miami, and she was looking many pictures of them on Facebook under the umbrellas. So she was like wondering why or what was that. And then she did some research and found that Impact Plan, the company that we hired for our umbrella sky, was she did the article about them and found out that they are going to have an project here in Batesville. And she was like, and what is Batesville? So she contacted us, and she made an interview of the team, and we were talking about our project or organization, and she included Batesville in the article. So that was a very good thing for town. It kind of put us on the loop for many people. So all the town, we all were very excited working on our project, but not everything was like we had planned it. And when we got the drawings for the structure and brought them to the city to get the city and the state permits, we realized that they were not in compliance with the code. So we needed to find a structural engineer and have him design a new structure for us. Actually, Tina found this engineer that did everything for us at no cost. He made a personal donation of his time. And then we found a structure. We needed to reduce the size because we were over budget, and we were planning this project to be like around 20,000, and then it went to 55,000. But we were already on the Washington Post, so we needed to keep working on this and make it possible. So Tina found us the company that did the structure, and then we realized, I don't know if you, what are you?
She's got the structure.
Okay. So we realized we needed to have 12 concrete ballasts, to 2,000 pounds each, that were not beautiful. So we needed to find out what to do to make it look nice. So we decided to paint like some clouds and on them to make them nicer. We also needed to find more funds to pay for the structure, and we contacted local companies and organizations, and we finally get the money that we needed to keep with our project. Tina, if you want to say anything, please interrupt me.
Can you flip to the slide where it talks about events and things happening under the?
Do you see my screen?
No, I think I'm seeing what. Can you go to slide 9?
Yes.
Please. So basically, it was not a straight line. The process that we went through, we thought we had it. First of all, usually these umbrellas are done between 2 tall buildings. We didn't have that option on our downtown. So then we went to a structure idea. We thought we had that all locked in. We had a budget, everything was going along. And then when we went to get permitting, we realized there was a lot more entailed in the permitting process. We were also fighting a little bit about taking up so much parking in the downtown, because that structure was going to be up for a few months, and downtown business owners, even though you saw the size of that parking lot, still felt like they couldn't do without those parking spaces. So that was a little bit of a battle. So we kept pushing forward, and ultimately we came up with a solution, and it was beautiful. And it not only was it beautiful, but it was on the heels of the COVID year. And we had this outdoor installation that just, we knew that everyone could enjoy it. We had no idea what programming was going to look like, because everything was in flux because of COVID. But we had this beautiful downtown space now that just became alive. I mean, we had visitors, our tourism bureaus just lit up with people, looking, for information on this project. We had lots of visitors from other places in Indiana, other states, even outside of the country. And the community just loved the space. And because of this activated, beautiful space, a lot of events organically started popping up under there. And so it's really become a very beloved space in our downtown. And what was started out as a 3-month project extended. We're a year and 3 months into it. We've done several installations. We're on our second umbrella installation. We did a color rain installation. We did a Christmas light installation. And we're about to do another Christmas light installation for this year. And and also the farmers market happens under these umbrellas. And so our farmers market increased to their maximum amount of vendors while that umbrella installation has been there. So it has grown that farmers market by leaps and bounds. It's just it's a place where people come. As you can see, they take wedding pictures under there. They take pictures of their pets. They take pictures of their children. They take family pictures. Everyone just has embraced it. And though the art council they're ready now to move on to a different project. And this will eventually come down. We have kind of shown what the space is capable of, and the fact that those parking spots really weren't missed, honestly. I mean, so now there's talks about, what can we do as a permanent structure? Can we enhance our farmers market possibly with a permanent structure in that place and do something that's a little more, lasting for our community? So it's kind of opened the door for bigger picture thinking, which, is the best part of it, really, that, we've helped everyone envision the space in a different and creative way. So I don't know, Ethel, if you want to talk a little about the stats that, from our Facebook page in terms of tourism.
Yeah, sure. So our first post when about the umbrella sky hit like 50,000 people. We had more than 150,000 visits on our Facebook page. The Franklin County Convention Recreation and Visitors Commission told us that they have had over 1,000 calls asking about the umbrella sky from Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, but also from other states and actually other countries. They have had 3,000 hits on their website about the umbrella sky. And so I think the numbers are just telling us that all the community was benefited about this project.
Awesome. Great. Thank you guys. I'm sorry to cut off, but we are just past 1. So we like to keep these at an hour. So if there are any questions for our group, feel free. We'll take just a few minutes. Unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Please specify who you're asking the question towards.
Michelle, I have a question. This is Missy Krulik with the Heart of Lebanon. I wanted to know what your interactive murals that you did. What were the materials that you made those interactive murals out of?
So they're actually meant to be on the sidewalk, and it can be a permanent sticker. It's meant to be non-skid. I would have to find out like the exact material, but it is a sticker material. And I think the full cost they're about $1,000 a piece. And the very large eye mural was $4,000. But I can reach out to Christy at Brain Bucket and find out exactly what she used, but she's pretty much a miracle worker when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Okay. I'm currently looking into a company in Kansas that prints them on aluminum, like a thin aluminum. So I didn't know if it was the same.
I can ask her if.
Okay. And then also, did you have any issues with your Historic Preservation Commission? Do you have one in your downtown?
We do, and we have not had any issues so far.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for our group? All right. I just want to thank you guys. We will, obviously this was recorded and we'll get that up on YouTube. I'm sure all 3 of our communities, if you had any questions you wanted to reach out individually, would be glad to answer any questions. And thank you all for attending another Lunch and Learn. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abby.